Hello, I'm here at Crumbs Doilies HQ and it has been a really long day, so I'm just having a nice soothing cup of tea, and I've got chai tea today and it is a lovely fragrant tea from India, really spicy, and I have it with milk and it's delicious. But I also have a recipe for a chai tea cupcake which I'd like to share with you, which just so happens to be in my book, which if you haven't got already, you can definitely buy it from all reputable bookshops and from cupcakejemma.com. But first things first, let's make some cupcakes. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to make an infusion, and this is actually a really neat technique and will give you great results using other things like different spices and different herbs. But for this one, obviously I'm going to use chai tea, and you're going to need to get your hands on real chai tea rather than the kind of instant stuff that you just add milk to. You really want that black tea and all those spices in there. So I'm going to start with 150 millilitres of whole milk. And to that I'm going to add 2 heaped tablespoons of my chai tea. Give it a little stir, and then you just need to bring it to the boil. And once it's reached boiling point, just turn the heat off, put a lid on and let it steep for 4 or 5 minutes. My tea's been sitting here for 4 or 5 minutes and it's lovely and strong, so I'm just going to put that through a sieve just to get rid of all the bits of tea. Don't want them in my cakes. It's really important that you give it a good old squeeze with your spoon, just to make sure you get all the last bits of milk out. And really all that strong flavour of the chai tea. So I'm just going to put that to one side to cool down, and then we'll get on with making the cupcakes. It's cupcake time now, so I'm starting with 125 grams of softened unsalted butter, which is already in my bowl, and I'm just going to sieve over the top of that 125 grams of self-raising flour and 125 grams of caster sugar. And then I've got 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom, and 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. That goes in too. And to my dry ingredients, I'm going to add 2 large free-range eggs. And I'm just going to put that on my mixer, and that just needs to be beat together for about 1 minute. And once it's had a minute mixing, it's time to add 1½ tablespoons of your chai tea infusion. And I'm going to speed that up to a medium and beat that for about a minute as well. So once your batter's ready, you just need to scoop it out into your cupcake cases. This is enough for 12 cupcakes. I've already lined my tin, and I'm going to be using my trusty spoons. And I'm going to bake these at 170 degrees C for 20 to 22 minutes. And now my cakes have cooled down, so I'm going to start making my icing. And I have already in my bowl 200 grams of softened unsalted butter, and I'm just going to beat that for about 5 minutes until it goes really pale. So once it's had 5 minutes, it's time to add the icing sugar. I've got 450 grams, which I've already sifted, and I'm going to put that in 2 stages and beat really well after each one. So it's been beating for a few minutes now, so now it's time to loosen it up and give it all that lovely aromatic flavour of the chai tea. So I'm going to add 3 or 4 tablespoons and give it a really good mix. Okay, it's looking the perfect consistency, so I'm just going to load this up into a piping bag and get on with decorating my cupcakes. Now I'm using a 15-point star nozzle. It's quite a wide hole in there, and this is giving me a really lovely, luxurious, swirly pattern. Now you can leave it there, they look pretty cool as is, but I'm going to give these a little bit more glitz and glamour by putting some gold balls, and also I have some demerara sugar which I've mixed some spice into, just a tiny amount of cinnamon, ground cloves and ground nutmeg, just about 1/8 teaspoon in 2 tablespoons of demerara sugar. So there it is, my delicious little chai tea cupcake with all the flavour and fragrant aromatic spices of chai tea in cupcake form. I feel like I'm in India. I wish. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy making these chai cupcakes. And if you like the method of infusing tea into milk, then why don't you check out my Earl Grey breakfast cupcakes. they're actually my favourite flavour of all time, so check the video out. I'll be back next week with another recipe for you guys, but until then, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link at the end. Bye!